competitive Elder Dragon Highlander. And if we compress this, we get something called cEDH, a word that has been developed by the community. It basically means a competitive commander game. And in this video we're going to be talking about what that actually means. And we're going to answer a couple of misconceptions that has arisen creating this word.
Number 1, that it is another game actually. Now it is easy to see that the people might see something wrong with the C in EDH, because cEDH is the exact same thing as normal EDH. The ban list and the rules are all the same everything. The reason the community put a C in front of the EDH was to make an indicator for everyone that this game was focused on competitive. Why that was important is because the mindset of EDH is a casual format that is so very embedded into everyone's mind. And as the question asks if there is a C standard or a C modern, no there isn't. A standard or modern game can both be casual and competitive, depending on the deck.
To make a short example, I would like to show you guys my old casual vintage deck. I ran 4 copies of all these cards here. I had 4 copies of Mana Bound. I had 4 copies of Life from the Loam. And I had 4 copies of Strip Mine. Yeah? Why there? And you can basically see what this is actually going to achieve. I'm going to be destroying a land every turn from start of turn 1. Basically put Life from the Loam into play, discard the entire hand, which will put Life from the Loam in graveyard and Strip Mine in play. And there you kinda go off. This was never really a strong deck, but it was very casual and fun in vintage.
Number 2, that it costs a fortune. Now there is definitely competitive commander decks that are expensive, not denying that. So there is some truth to this. But I do have some great news for these two. There are a lot of different competitive EDH decks that cost almost nothing. But one more thing, a lot of cards played in Modern, Legacy and Vintage is played in EDH. And those cards that are something like cEDH staples and a must-have don't really cost that much. So if you are collecting cards for something like Modern, you might already have a good cEDH deck. And one last thing, cEDH isn't making cards expensive. Some cards get expensive, but not the competitive ones. If something, casual EDH makes some weird cards expensive. Number 3, Metagame preconceptions. The biggest view on cEDH is that it only lasts a couple of minutes, and it's just a random luck of who has the combo in hand. In short, the competitive EDH metagame is focused around combo, so sure, they are all not that wrong, but there is a lot more to it than that. First off, there's a lot of different kinds of combos. There is fast and even all-in combos, this or nothing. Then there's slow but resilient combos. And then there's even slower than that, but focus on making sure that faster combos doesn't go off. A faster combo isn't better than a slow one, they just have different pros and cons. A faster combo usually have a weaker comeback plan. But regardless, competitive matches usually last longer than a couple of minutes and a few turns. I have many non-stacks games that go past turn 4. Counterspells and other spot removal tend to do the job. And therefore the game is just as jumpy as a normal casual game, with comebacks and all that. Just like B answers to A. All of that can also happen in a competitive game amongst friends. As this statement writes, I think competitive was the wrong word, should be combo EDH, because that's really what you're trying to do. Combo first. All commander games are competitive, whether it's pre-constructed battle or 4 mid-power decks going at it. Everyone is trying to win. Lol. And yes, at first glance, competitive commander games tend to look like that, because games kinda end sometimes turn 2, turn 4, so I'm guessing that's where the bad reputation is coming from.
So that statement is actually kinda interesting. It is half right and half wrong. So the metagame is combo, sure, but all decks are not trying to actually win with combo and not trying to do it as fast as humanly possible. Some are trying to do it slower, like I talked about earlier, but some decks actually don't even try to combo up. They just prohibit every other opponent from comboing up and then grinding them out slowly. That's a stack strategy actually, very common and a growing archetype in competitive commander. But also, in casual games, not every deck is trying to be a competitive or play to win. Some decks actually try to lose.
And then we have this common view that why have a format with 100 cards when you're only aiming at viewing 10 of them.
So a card like Demonic Tutor, together with a huge deck, basically creates a toolbox format. A format where you can search your library for everything you need and put it in hand and play it. It basically creates a format where you can deal with most things. And that is very interesting. It basically comes down to a decision making. What am I going to fetch with my demonic tutor? And that's very fun. And that's a lot of skill into it. But this format actually has more consistency to it compared to a normal 60 card game. Even though we have a 100 card list where everything is singleton. Because we have access to our commanders. And actually in this example we have a party combination. In most cases you only have one commander. But you can have your entire strategy built around getting this commander in play and then using every card in here to interact with this specific commander. But it's still a 100 card deck singleton, which means that there's going to be a lot of varieties in all games. Even though competitive commander really looks repetitive and it really looks like you're doing the same thing all over and over and over, it's still going to have a lot of versatility inside the game.
Number 4. EDH is only designed to be played casual. As this person writes, EDH was specifically created to get away from the Cheetos dusted, drumpy fingers of competitive play. It was conceived so that a group of friends could hang out and enjoy a long casual game of Magic. It was created so that you could play cards like that otherwise wouldn't see play anywhere. It's meant to be a casual social format. If you want to be competitive, play Legacy or Modern, that's where you get good competitive play. So the first statement is kind of true. It was created to be a social casual format by a couple of judges that wanted to get away from the judge calls and just wanted to hang out. But a lot has changed since that. And as the second statement goes that you will get good competitive play at Modern and Legacy, well that is true, but you will also be able to get good competitive play at EDH. So a first enlightenment, Magic was actually created to be a casual game. And later the community and the popularity made it into competitive made tournaments. That is pretty much the same thing with Hearthstone. Actually, Blizzard's Entertainment was a bit surprised when the community actually asked for tournaments in this casual game they created. Look at it now today. It is just like what I and another person writes. This isn't a casual format, it's a social format. Maybe your playgroup is casual, but mine isn't. Nothing is inherently casual, you make it casual. And what I write, because there isn't anything wrong with the EDH ban list, which is the same that cEDH use. By the way everyone, you can play Vintage and Legacy casual too.
So I have heard many times that a commander game that is multiplayer can't be competitive or can't be taken serious just because it's multiplayer. Just because there's a random factor of opponents you can't take into consideration. If it's a 1v1 match, it's very simple, there's a loser and there's a winner. But if there's multiplayer, it's very different to say, I lost because of him, I didn't lose because of me. And that argument is... let me give you some examples.
If you want a good example of a game that is multiplayer and also competitive, take a look at poker. They have prize monies, tournaments and championships. There's also a big variety of board games that have been played as a casual tournament, like Settlers of Carcassonne. This game is called running. The metagame is to run as fast as humanly possible towards the goal, and that's it. You are not allowed to interact with your opponents in any form of way. Still, this game is considered highly competitive and comes with a large prize pool. Moving forward, we have a board game that has been taken really serious. Monopoly. Now something you played as a child. Some other people took it to the next step, into tournaments. So Monopoly is definitely a multiplayer game with the last man standing wins. It also has that random factor like Magic does. You don't know what you're going to top deck and you don't know what you're going to roll on your dices. Also the same with Texas Hold'em Poker. You don't know what 2 cards you are going to draw. Now a last giveaway. Now I think this post truly say it. Simply put, competitive EDH is building and playing with the focus on the destination rather than the journey. You want to be doing the most efficient things, not necessarily the most flashy things. This is not saying that fun is not the goal, but fun isn't always prioritized above victory. Price doesn't automatically dictate anything, but it's very difficult to build a cEDH deck at a very low cost. The turn count isn't a good indicator of a quality of games. Just because a game ends on turn 4 doesn't mean that every player hasn't been active participant. Of course there are games where one person draws but nothing, but when everyone is playing the best interactions and the best threats, they get to threaten and answer things at an efficient manner. Competitive EDH isn't for everyone and can be very hard to understand if you don't have a cEDH playgroup to try it out with. But if you can convince your personal playgroup to give it a try, I would highly recommend it. You could get everyone to proxy up some decks so no one has to spend money on it. And who knows, maybe you will fall in love.
But the biggest reason that casual players hate us competitive players is because sometimes competitive players join casual groups. And that isn't very optimal, and that is very unfun. You're basically playing at two different metagames, something I talked about a lot in a previous video I made. But there's many solutions to handle that situation, and I want to show you a casual group that truly does it in a good way. This is for all of you casual players.
If you do that in my playgroup, we will tell you, amazing, you win. Now the rest of us are going to play it for a second, and we continue playing the game.
And that's it. Now you heard all of my opinions on this. If you liked it, leave a thumbs up. This is it for me. Take care, everyone.